My name is Andrew Hare. I've been on the FamilySearch Mobile App team since its launch about 3 years ago. Before I get into the mobile app, though, I'd like to lay some groundwork and give a bit of background on FamilySearch. The idea of FamilySearch is that we are all working together in one big tree. And the reason for that, one of the reasons, main reasons, is that roughly 80% of family history research has been done before. And we want to avoid duplicate research. Everyone sharing what they've discovered and over time improving the accuracy of the family tree. One of the benefits of this is that you and I have relatives adding our ancestors with their stories, photos, and audio for us to discover. And this actually happened to me not too long ago. I was using the mobile app. I was at home and pulled up my grandmother. She's on the left with her mother. That's my great grandmother, Mary Jane. And as I was kind of looking at her images, I stumbled across a story. And I discovered that her mother had actually died in childbirth when she was only 12 years old while she was having that baby. Then my great grandmother, Mary Jane, became the mother and took care of her younger siblings and cleaned the house while her father was away at work each day. So she became the mother. And some generous soul contributed that story to FamilySearch. And because of their work, I now get to enjoy that story, as well as all of my siblings, cousins, and relatives. So that's the idea behind FamilySearch, one open public tree for all. Now, regarding the mobile app, just to clarify the difference between a mobile app and the FamilySearch website. The mobile app lives on your phone. You download that from on an Apple device, the App Store, and from an Android device from the Play Store. And that's different from simply opening a browser and typing in familysearch.org. Today, I'd like to cover the following things. One, can the app do that? These are some questions that we get from people typically. Just some stats regarding the mobile app, some top uses, and finally, a demo. So first, can the app do that? Before we launched, people typically said it's too small to do family history research on. But we've found since the launch, as I mentioned 3 years ago, that we now have thousands of users daily who really appreciate having the ability to do family history work while on the go. So today you can now do about 95% of the tasks that you can do on familysearch.org, you can now do in the native mobile app. Some things that are different is one, obviously, we don't have a large monitor for really deep research. There's no source box, which there is a source box on familysearch.org, and we don't have the ability to do multiple tabs yet. So on a web browser, for instance, you can launch multiple tabs and do your work that way. That will be coming later this year in the mobile app. Some stats regarding the mobile app. Through July 2017, like I mentioned, we launched almost exactly 3 years ago. There have been 3 million people install the app across Android and iOS. We have, on average, about 120,000 users weekly. And in that time, there have been 10 million sources attached. We'll talk about sources later and what that means. And there have been close to 15 million photos viewed since launch. So, what can you do, and what are some of the most common tasks on mobile? Those include primarily the task list, finding and attaching historical records, and those are the sources I mentioned earlier, adding people, viewing and uploading memories. Those include photos, stories, and audio, and updating life events like a birth date or a death date, things like that. So now I'd like to move into the demo portion of the presentation by showing you how to add a memory and how to use the Ancestors with Task list. Okay, when you first launch the Family Tree mobile app, you'll be presented with a sign-in screen where you'll type in your username and password. I have done that, and now I'm presented with my pedigree. This is me and my wife, my parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents, and I've expanded. As you can see, there's these little arrows here that I can expand my pedigree and see beyond that. Today I'd like to just focus on adding memories and talking about this Ancestors with Task list. Now that is the very bottom of the screen. There's a little icon that says Tasks. I will tap that, and this is a task list of my ancestors. Now this is a task list that we've gone back about 6 generations plus all their siblings to give you a list of your ancestors and accompanying record hints. Now, since FamilySearch is a public tree that anyone can view or edit, we prove our ancestors' life events by attaching historical records. And those historical records are things like birth certificates or death certificates or census records, things like that. This helps others know when they come along what information is correct. This Ancestors with Tasks includes these blue icons that are called record hints. And these are records we found that we believe are for your ancestors. So we're presenting them to you to review and attach. And you do that as follows. Here in my list of ancestors, there's a Dora McDonald. Next to her, I'm going to tap this blue icon. She's here at the top of the screen. I'll tap that blue record hint icon. Now, you see Dora's name there, and this is a birth certificate. So Dora appears in a birth certificate, and it looks like that this is a birth certificate of her son, Levon. So I'm going to tap, you can see this information here. There's Levon's name, his actual birth date, where he was born, his gender, birth year, and then the father and mother's name. In this case, that is Dora. So I'm going to hit review. Now, first-time users, when they first come to this is called kind of a source linker, are a bit confused, but the idea is this. Over on the left, you have the record that we have found and the information pulled out of that record. On the right are people in your tree. So my task is to determine, are the people on the left actually the people on the right? And if so, I want to attach this record. So I see Dora's name on the left in the record. There's the header at the top, and Dora McDonald in my tree, in my family tree, represented there. I also want to check the other family members here. I see a Thomas Mulholland here on the left in the record, and on the right in my tree, Thomas Mulholland here also matches up. Levon, his birth date does match up. With this information, I can tell that these are the correct individuals. I want to go ahead and attach this record, this birth certificate, to all 3 people listed in it, Thomas, Dora, and Levon. So I'm going to hit attach. That's now attached to Dora. I'm going to hit that little clip icon and expand it to review all of Thomas's information. Even though the names don't perfectly line up, I know that that's Thomas Mulholland here. I'm going to hit attach. The big indicator here is that with all 3 family members, their dates lining up and their names lining up, I'm confident that this is the correct source for these people, which is why I'm going to go ahead and attach. So now that has been attached to all 3 individuals, Dora, her husband Thomas, and their son Levon. I'm going to close that review. You can see that hint is no longer there, and Dora is now gone. We've attached that record to her. So that's a quick overview of Ancestors with Tasks. The idea being we're presenting you with record hints. Your job is to review them and attach them so that we can improve the quality of the information on FamilySearch. Secondly, I'd like to review adding a memory, or in this case, a photo. I've got a photo in front of me that I'm going to add to me. I'm going to tap on my name there at the bottom center. And you can see that I have details about me. There's my wife and children, my parents, and I'm going to tap on Memories here. In the lower right-hand corner, there's a green plus button to add any type of memory. In this case, a document, a story, recording an audio or adding a photo. I will show adding a photo, so I'm going to tap that icon, and up comes a list of my images. I'm going to tap in the top left. You can see I've got a photo here in front of me. I'm going to tap that square, and up comes my photo. I'm going to make sure I've got decent lighting, try to hold still as best I can. And for me, when I'm taking a photo of a photo, I want to be near a window, something that has good lighting so that it's represented well. Once I'm happy, I'll snap that photo and hit Use Photo in the lower right. And in the lower left, I can crop. In the lower right, I can rotate that photo. So I'm going to hit that crop and get rid of my thumb in this case, and grab those handles in the top left and lower right to get kind of a place that I'm happy with, and hit crop. Now that I'm happy with that, I'll hit save, and there the photo shows up. I will tap on the photo, and now in the lower right you can identify folks in the photo. So I'll just tap that little icon. Big photo shows up. We know this is about me, so we've attached this big circle, but we don't know where I'm at, so that's my job. I'm going to come over here and just put that right around my face, like so. If there were other people in this photo that were relatives, I would identify them and attach them like this. I would tap on the photo, anywhere else, make sure that's kind of over their face, hit Add Name, and we will pull up a list of your ancestors 6 generations back, plus their siblings, and for you to attach to them. In this case, I'm just going to say that's Wendy, and hit Done. This is now attached to both Wendy and I on FamilySearch.org once that photo syncs.